The text read by the dear gentleman here was an insult.
The terrorist, Ahmadinejad, speaks at Columbia University. We'll have full coverage and a debate on free speech, including NPR rejecting an interview with President Bush.
There was like 7 black kids walking up. They started beating me up.
Is racial violence growing in America? We'll show you a shocking videotape.
Bill O'Reilly can kiss my fat ass.
And body language looks at far-left loons, Hillary Clinton, and Dan Rather. Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. The factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Busy program. In fact, we'll have 2 talking points memos this evening. The second being the amazing scolding the New York Times is taking over that Move On ad by its own editor. But first, Ahmadinejad at Columbia, the Iranian president, a terrorist killer, was given a forum by that ultra-liberal university today. But there may be some good news here. But first, the bad news. Before Ahmadinejad took the stage, Lee Bollinger, the president of Columbia, denounced him and his country. Bollinger cited human rights abuses committed by Iran, as well as Ahmadinejad's fascist ideology. Bollinger did this because he knows he's in trouble, that many Americans believe Bollinger himself is a villain. That's because the president touts freedom of speech, but took weak action against the Columbia students who threatened the leader of the Minutemen. You may remember that. And Bollinger has supported the banning of ROTC on campus. Does that sound like freedom of speech to you? When Ahmadinejad took the stage, he denied any and all wrongdoing, as he always does, blaming all terrorism in the world on the great Satan, the USA. All in all, a tremendous academic experience, right? Ahmadinejad is a shrewd guy. He knows by denying all of Iran's atrocities, a segment of the world will believe him. On the fascist website Daily Kos, there's a poll asking who is a better president, Bush or the Iranian. Around 40% of the Kos loons picked Ahmadinejad. The only positive talking points you can see in all this is that more Americans now know about Ahmadinejad, the terrorist. One of the discouraging things going on in this country is the failure of some Americans to recognize the true danger in the world. This controversy has spotlighted the danger coming from Iran, and the more we understand that danger, the better. So while Columbia and Lee Bollinger are hypocritical beyond belief, there is an upside to the dog and pony show, as revolting as it may be. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, freedom of speech versus human rights. With us now, Medea Benjamin, head of the far-left peace organization Code Pink. And from Washington, Fox News analyst Juan Williams, who also works for NPR. You know, it's interesting you're here tonight, Juan, because of the freedom of speech deal. You got an interview with President Bush, okay? NPR would not run the interview, even though it's relevant to Ahmadinejad. Why didn't they run it?
Well, I got a call over the weekend from the president's staff and saying that they wanted to have an interview on the 50th anniversary of Little Rock to talk about race relations in the United States, given that the Jena 6 situation is taking place as well. And so I was thrilled. I thought, boy, what a coup to get an interview with the president. But NPR officials felt that the White House shouldn't be determining who does interviews for NPR. I had done an interview with the president earlier this year, and they felt that somehow they were picking me to do this interview, and I said, well,
so what? You work for NPR, you're a journalist,
I do.
So what?
And you know what else? I mean, that's the case at other news organizations, that people will make a request to the White House, and the White House, given whatever the topic, if it's business, they might go to Neil Cavuto. They pick people, and I've written several books, from Eyes on the Prize to a biography of Justice Marshall to Enough, on race relations, right, so I have a specific expertise.
NPR wouldn't run the interview, but we will run a clip of it because it has to do with Ahmadinejad. Go.
Ours is a great country. I mean, you really think about it. He's the head of a state sponsor of terror. And yet an institution in our country gives him a chance to express his point of view, which really speaks to the freedoms of the country. I'm not so sure I'd offered the same invitation, but nevertheless, it speaks volumes about really the greatness of America.
All right. Now, Juan, what did you think of Ahmadinejad at Columbia?
Well, I thought that the whole thing just turned into kind of a mess with Bollinger then attacking him, but I think that you're right, Bill. I think Bollinger felt that he was on the defensive in general, that many Americans felt that he had made the wrong decision. President Bush, even said, if it's up to the president of Colombia, but ultimately it's a testimony to the glory of this country and to our belief in free speech. Nonetheless, I think the president said that if it was up to him, he might have gone the other way.
How about you? You think Ahmadinejad should have been there?
Yeah, I think that it's a matter of free speech. Let him speak and let people question him and let him get on the record. For instance, this is a guy who has denied the Holocaust in the past, said that he wants to destroy Israel. Today, he's trying to clean it up. Today, he's trying to spin it. And I think that ultimately this all allows us to see through him and see for what he is, which is, a reprehensible character.
Ms. Benjamin, what do you think of Ahmadinejad?
I wouldn't have voted for him. A lot of Iranians did. I wouldn't. I listened to his speech. I was at the university. I didn't like a lot of what he said. I don't like that he still questions the Holocaust. I didn't like that he denied that there are homosexuals. I didn't like his condescending attitude towards women. But I think it is a triumph for free speech that he spoke at the university.
All right. He denied there were homosexuals in Iran. He said there weren't any.
Right.
Anyway, so you disagree with some of his policies. Do you feel he's a terrorist?
I wouldn't call him a terrorist.
You
He's
wouldn't?
a head of state. I think terrorism has a different definition.
Well,
it's
I
supposed
mean,
to be.
if you wouldn't call him a terrorist, what do you call a guy who funds and trains Hezbollah, people like that?
I think he is somebody who's an adversary of George Bush and Bush's policies.
No.
But I think
Hezbollah attacked Israel, not the United States. His country funds and trains Hezbollah, gives them weapons and money. They attacked Israel. That's not a terrorist?
I think it's important to talk to people that are
Is he a terrorist
adversaries.
or not, Ms.
No,
Benjamin?
I wouldn't call him a terrorist.
All right.
I'd call
Now,
him
what would you call somebody who funds and trains Hezbollah? What would they be if not a terrorist?
They would be a state that is supporting Hezbollah.
Terrorism.
A state that is supporting Hezbollah, which
Hezbollah is
has
not a
committed.
terrorist organization?
It's been in a struggle with Israel, and
It's not a terrorist organization?
it has done terrorist acts against civilians, which is bad.
Okay.
And
But
Israel
you wouldn't
has
call
too.
him a terrorist?
Israel
right?
has also attacked civilians, which is bad. Look, Bill, we need a world where there's dialogue, where people talk to each other.
I
The
understand
worst
that.
thing that could happen right now is a war with Iran. And I think talking to Ahmadinejad, giving him a forum, I think
All right.
President Bush
if you
should
say
talk
the worst
to him.
thing, I don't think Bush should talk to him because that elevates Ahmadinejad to a status he doesn't deserve. Look, we disarmed North Korea, at least on paper, in a very, very methodical way, and hopefully we'll be able to do it with Iran. But I'm interested here. You said the worst thing to do would go to war with Iran. What if Iran, and it looks like they're going to, threatens the world's oil supply in the Middle East? Is that not worth fighting over?
It's worth having very serious talks with the United Nations involved.
But if you don't back it up with the threat of force, how can you stop them from doing anything?
I think right now what we're on is a collision course, and we've got to get off this collision course. We need Iran to stop the violence in Iraq.
Okay,
we need Iran to help us find an exit
doesn't seem to be willing
strategy.
to do that.
We're
We've been
not
talking
to them.
Yes, we are. We've been
No, we're
talking to them
not.
for 6 months in Switzerland.
We have not been talking. There
Absolutely
have not been
have.
high-level talks.
As high level as you can get in the
No,
State
there have
Department.
not been high-level talks.
Well, you're misinformed because we've been
High-level
talking to them for 6 months in Switzerland, got nowhere.
No,
All right, I
we've
gotta
been
give
saying
Juan the last word.
preconditions for
No,
talks.
there's no preconditions. It's a chat in Switzerland between our State Department and their State
We
Department.
don't want to chat. We want serious talks between
They're
highest
serious
levels.
talks, Ms. Benjamin. Juan, Iran is a danger to the country, but Ms. Benjamin and others don't feel it is. Is there any way to persuade them?
Well, I don't think she said it wasn't a danger, but let me just be clear, and then President Bush was clear in the interview I did with him today, that Iran is a state sponsor of terrorism, no question about it. And when it comes to oil supply or killing Americans in Iran, there's no question we have to take action and stop it. And I hope that we could do it with allies and do it in concert and not just put the burden on the American military.
Everybody hopes that, but I don't know if it's going to be possible or not. But it was in North Korea. We did the right thing, and hopefully that is the
Through
intent.
talks. That's the way to go.
Hey,
Diplomacy,
that's what this
not
program
war.
is, Ms. Benjamin. You and I chat.
Diplomacy.
If you and I were in charge, we'd solve the problem, right? We appreciate you coming in, Juan, as
you.
always. And we'll have more on this coming up with Kirsten Powers and Monica Crowley. Next on the rundown, horrific tape of a fight in Virginia. Was it racially motivated? Off the Gina controversy, we will have analysis. And later, animal rights people stepping up explicit advertising. But what is the point? We hope you stay tuned for those reports.
Korean Air is made of.
Excellence in flight. Korean Air.
If you think you've seen and heard everything there is on Elvis, have we got a surprise for you?
Oh, see, easy rider. Oh, see, what you have done. I'm the king of the
For the first time ever, the greatest Elvis collection on 3 DVDs. The Elvis Lives 25th Anniversary Concert, together with the gospel music of Elvis Presley. Elvis Lives DVD captures this once-in-a-lifetime concert event.